Or even worse, the dreaded drummer sings, oh no. And you're going to tell
Well,
me it's the drummer now, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Surf Curse is an American indie rock band formed in 2012. The band was formed by Nick Radigan, drums and lead vocals.
Fucking hell. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy.
Mhm.
I only knew you for a while. I never saw your smile till it was time to go. Time to go away. Time to go away. Sometimes it's hard to recognize. Love comes as a surprise, and it's too late. It's just too late to stay. Too late to stay. More of that later. But first, we have the serious business of listening to some proper music. Sorry, Phil and Georgia. Um, Andy, what have you got for us today?
I have a little act called Surf Curse and a track by them called Disco. So, I'm sure the concept of disco rings true to you, but do you know the track or the band?
No,
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well,
but I think I told you this before. The first album I bought with, I say my own money, it was money that I snaffled off my parents, was the soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever. Hot damn. So, yeah.
that's great. Well, please don't go in with expectations about, disco music. It's simply a title, but yes. But yeah, please go off, give this a listen, and it's a short little number, and come back and let me know what you thought of it, buddy.
Okie dokie.
All right.
I can't help it with you. Stubborn heart in blue. Let's come into the
Hey, it's a really short song, so I'll get my early salvo in. Nice start. That guitar is sort of real, sounds sort of post-punk, sort of slightly angular and slightly thin. I really like that sound. I don't know if it was two guitars or just the one reverbed. I guess it doesn't really matter. You got that sound. And then immediately in come the drums and the bass. The bass, I heard them, was almost carrying the melody. Really nice sounding, and it sort of beefed everything up. It's great sounding bass. Drums are really sort of simple, but you've got this sort of nice rhythmic quality to it. And then your man starts singing. Um, he's got one of those voices that I don't dislike, but it just absolutely nothing for me. Um, so yeah, we'll see. But it's really musically, um, it's really nice. Let's see how it goes.
when disco plays our tune. 'Cause there's nothing like it, not like the way you move. I can try, but I can't hide it from you. 'Cause I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you.
Bass.
Admire all of you, but
I was just say, I think that was a chorus. I got that sort of stop-starty, jerky nature, which is always quite pleasing. I always like that. And again, loads of it in post-punk. Kind of followed on by bands like Franz Ferdinand did it so well. Um, and the thing about that is that when it goes do stop start, and then when it comes back in properly, it sounds even better, even though they've done nothing different. But I noticed there he was whacking a bit more percussion, and there was a slightly higher note on the guitars, just giving it a bit more of a tinkle to it. It sounded really good. The man's warbling away in his falsetto notes. It sounded like something was about to happen. Let's go back just a touch.
For you, I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you.
This sounds good. Yeah, really brief song. Quick hit that. Yeah, it's nice. It did sort of sound a lot like stuff that came out, sort of that post-punky early 80s, but done in a modern way. I think the voice is the weak link for me. I didn't, I could really take or leave it. But there's sort of rhythmic quality to it, and that last bit when they had sort of rapid fire drums, and then just went to sort of jam out to the end, that sounded great, and I do like that sort of rhythmic strumming quality to it. I think the bass sounded fantastic, and it really held everything up, and took. I think it mimicked some of the vocal melody at points as well, but it really carried the whole tune. I think, and just let the guitars just sort of strum and do their thing without having to worry about anything else. So yeah, I think the bass is the star of the show for me. Drums are fairly straightforward, but just did exactly what they go. So you go with a driving quality to it. So yeah, this is a decent song. It's a decent song. We'll have to find out a bit more about them. So let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right. So, caught the tide, made it back to shore. What did you think of Surf Curse and this track Disco?
First off, Surf Curse. Not sold on that name.
Okay, I'll let them know.
I don't say I hate it, but I'm just not sold. It's awkward. It's not one that flows, which is bizarre since it's surf, but there you go. So this song starts, and you're right, it's a very short song. So it starts with this guitar riff, and that tone is straight out of post-punk circa 1983. And it has that slightly thin and angular quality to the tone of the guitar, which I love that particular type of guitar. I'm not sure if it's reverbed or if there's another guitar shadowing it. It doesn't really matter. That's what the effect you get, whether it's two or one. Probably reverb, but yeah. And then almost immediately, because it's such a short song, the drums kick in, and this great sounding bass. Now I have to say, the bass adds so much to this song. Points is carrying the whole melody, and it really was the star of the whole show for me. The singer begins, and his voice has that tone I've talked about before that doesn't do much for me. I don't hate it; it just does nothing. I found the music much more interesting, so I kind of just let him wash over me. So we go through the first verse, and there's a pleasant vibe to the guitars that are strumming away, and there's that alluring bass and the rhythmic drums, and they're all blending together into this catchy little number that sort of pulls you along. And then towards the end of the verse, the bass for maybe a couple of bars sort of mimics the vocal melody line as well, which is really enjoyable. And then I believe the next part is the chorus, because it's repeated a few times. well, not a few, a couple, maybe two, twice, because but so it has that stop-start stabbing effect. And again, we talked about this ages back, but it was very prevalent in the post-punk genre. And again, it's another thing I like, and it's been picked up subsequently by bands. I mean, straight away, you think of something like Franz Ferdinand, who does that, you know, incredibly well, that sort of stop-start stuff. And what it does is a couple of things. It has an enjoyable sort of rhythmic quality anyway. But what it also does is when the music comes back in, it has that effect of making the strumming parts seem even better when they come back in. And they've done nothing different, but it sounds better than it did before because of this stop-start bit, and it comes back. Yeah. So yeah, really like that. The singer throws in sort of falsetto notes at the end of "I Can't Wait for You,"
Yeah.
which, you know, trying to add interest. Fair enough, he's doing his best. Back into the verse and back into that rhythmic music, and the melodic bass returns as well. And the drums are very straightforward. And I don't think I noticed it on the first chorus. It probably was there. No reason to think it wasn't. But we get to the second chorus, and he's throwing in some percussion. So when he did the stop-start stuff, it's all on the beat. And then when they come back in for a little bit of like strumming, he's like bunging in some more percussion. And there's one of the guitars is a slightly higher note, so it gives it all a bit of a sort of sparkly quality for that sort of bit, and then back into the stop-start, which again is a really nice technique. We then get some sort of rapid fire, you know, it's not like a drum roll, but you know what I mean. He's beating away, and he gets a bit more sort of warbling from the singer, and then the band goes back into sort of this strumming, and they sort of rock out to the end. And just as they're coming to the end, it sort of finishes with that guitar riff in isolation, which is really nice. So yeah, this is a brief little number. It was catchy, and it did sound like a sort of updated version of a sort of early 80s, you know, post-punky type song. So it was of its time, as it were, but looking back, but not pastiche. You know, they were sort of making it their own. I think for me, the most effective part, I did like all the sort of little touches, but when they were just, and you know, I'm a sucker for it, heads down and just strumming away. I just love that. And that's when I think it sounded, that's when it really hit for me as a song. But yeah, it's interesting. I didn't really catch much of the lyrics, but it didn't sound like anything particularly profound. I think he's just talking about dancing and the birdie likes, you know, what I can make out, which, you know, why not?
Right.
That's all fine. I've not got no problem. I've listened to much worse lyrics in my time than that.
And how much
it.
profundity do you expect from a 2.5 minute song? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
straightforward like
So
this.
yeah, it was it's in the sort of in the wheelhouse of that sort of indie dancey stuff, but this had a bit more sort of bite to it, I'd say. It sort of knocked it up from some of the other. There's a lot of the indie dance stuff from like noughties and teens that I think doesn't really do enough for me. So it's a bit lightweight, a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
And this had a bit more to it, so that made it more enjoyable. So musically, I enjoyed it a lot. Lyrically, the vocally, I could take or leave. I mean, if it had been instrumental, actually, I wouldn't have complained. You know, it didn't make me hate the song either. I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I just say that was the weakest link of it for me.
Okay, fair.
That's
No,
all.
you're obviously entitled to your opinion. Yeah, and I'm not. He obviously wasn't crushing it from a vocal standpoint either, like blowing anybody's doors off. But yeah, no, it had enough.
It kind of reminds me of when you're at a gig and they say, "Oh, and the next song the bass player's going to sing," and you think,
It had to be
it was
the
of that
bass player in
standard.
your example, huh?
Of course, you know.
Of course.
Or even worse, the dreaded drummer sings, you know. Oh no. And you're going to tell
Well,
me it's the drummer now, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Surf Curse is an American indie rock band formed in 2012. The band was formed by Nick Radigan, drums and lead vocals.
Fucking hell.
There you go.
I mean, I'm half joking, I'm half serious, but you know, it's always danger when the drummer starts singing. But we've seen it with Squid, it can work.
Yeah, it can. It can. Yeah. Again, at a better pace. The band was formed by Nick Radigan, drums and lead vocals,
Wow.
Jacob Rubeck, guitars and vocals, and they now also include Henry Dillon on bass and Noah Cole on drums. No, forgive
Well,
me,
I would say
on guitars.
Henry crushed it. The
Yeah,
bass is
no,
superb.
Henry killed it. Henry killed it. Yeah. And Noah Cole on he's now another guitarist in the band. The band formed in Reno, Nevada, but shortly thereafter moved to Los Angeles, where they played at the Smell, a club that welcomed bands with similar sounds to that of Surf Curse's sort of punk surf rock. There they became a part of the local all ages punk scene. In 2013, the band independently released the EP Sad Boys and their debut album Buds. The album established a growing Los Angeles fan base, allowing them to play at the October 2016 Beach Golf Festival before an audience that included non local attendees. Their second album, Nothing Yet, was released in January of 2017 through Danger Collective. Radigan and Rubeck described Nothing Yet as reflecting their lifelong influence by movies, saying that the song The Strange and the Kind could fit on the soundtrack of a modern Dazed and Confused. The band remained somewhat successful, albeit underground, through the 2019 release of their third album, Heaven Surrounds You. This third album was praised for Radigan's vocals and its lead track, Disco. And its fast pace compared favorably to Vampire Weekend's debut. When the onset of
Ooh.
COVID-19 pandemic and ensuing lockdowns in 2020, Surf Curse were unable to continue performing live. However, in 2020, the song Freaks began drawing attention on the short form video platform TikTok. The song's angsty lyrics, particularly I Am Just a Freak, made it compatible with TikTok's meme format that played in its background. After being released as a single in May 2021, following the band's signing with Atlantic Records, Freaks reached number 64 on the UK singles chart and number 17 on Billboard's Hot Rock and Alternative Songs 8 years after it first appeared on Buds. The song is RIAA certified platinum and, as of April 2024, has more than 1 billion streams. Billboard recognized Surf Curse as the second ranked artist of 2021 in their category of new rock artists. Following their signing to Atlantic Records, Surf Curse added bassist Henry Dillon and guitarist Noah Cole to their lineup. Dillon and Cole had toured with the band pre-pandemic, so they were already kind of figures in the band, but they were formally added as members after the pandemic. Radigan said of adding them, I think the sort of connection that me and Jacob felt with each other when we started the band was also felt with Noah and Henry. As now a four-piece band, Surf Curse released Magic Hour in 2022, as with their other album covers that featured the band members. All four are featured on the cover art of that album. The album's release had been preceded by the band performing at Coachella in the Wizard of Oz themed attire and the launch of their album's lead single, Sugar. The band began their North American tour for Magic Hour with a concert in Las Vegas on October 30th, 2022, where the band members were dressed as different iterations of Elvis Presley. So this whole dressing up as things when they perform is a bit of a theme.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's just hold it there a second and
Yeah.
let's just discuss. So, which iterations of Elvis would you think they would do? I mean, Jailhouse Rock, Vegas Jumpsuit, they're the two nailed in,
Yeah.
definites. And then what would you have? GI Blues,
Yeah, maybe.
and the comeback 60 whatever is special with the leather jacket
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe the drummer / singer was dead on the toilet Elvis because he was seated at his throne. I don't know.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
That's a good visual, right? Zombie Elvis just sitting on the shitter. So yeah, Magic Hour was received positively by critics who identified its lyrics as more creative and a positive evolution of the band's sound and talent. Almost 5 years later, after the band's single Freaks went viral on TikTok, a new trend would emerge to their 2019 single Disco in 2024. This trend led to the song to be #1 on the TikTok Billboard Top 50 chart. It's so fucking wild to me that TikTok has its own Billboard chart. But it was #1 on the TikTok Billboard Top 50 chart in September of this year, as in right now when we're recording this. Surf Curse's music has been described as surf rock, lo-fi, garage pop, surf punk, surf pop, indie pop, and jangle pop. So they got all the pops and rocks covered. The band's live performance has been characterized as bedlam and bonkers, with Radigan saying that at a particularly energetic set at Pappy and Harriet's resulted in the venue banning the band for life. I have no idea what happened, but I would love to have been a fly on the wall if the flies on the wall survived whatever bedlam occurred. Circling back to this album, Heaven Surrounds You. According to the record's Bandcamp page, the record was inspired by cult films the band had cherished throughout their young adulthood, featuring many references to these films throughout the track listing. During the summer of 2019, the band held 3 movie screenings of films that had inspired this record. So, according to the band, some of the movies and shows they were inspired by included Eraserhead, The Last Days of Disco, Twin Peaks, Hour of the Wolf, Through a Glass Darkly, Maps of the Stars, Dead Ringers, just to name a few. Every track on the record was named after one of these cult films. A track-for-track review of the record by Under the Rock of Medium was very positive, believing that the record was the best thing the band had yet released. Mike Lauser of Flood stated that the record, despite being in a new location, still sounds like the West Coast garage rock longingly written 200 miles from the Pacific and illuminated by the neons of downtown Reno. Furthermore, called the album both their most romantic record to date and their uneasiest, capturing the sounds of Rubeck and Radigan falling in love with and recoiling from the surreality of their new home in Los Angeles. So let's jump into these lyrics. I can't help it with you, stubborn-hearted blue. Lights come into the room when disco plays our tune. 'Cause there's nothing like it, not like the way you move. I can try, but I can't hide it from you, 'cause I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you. Admire all of you, but fire burns me too. Can't stop that disco getting through. Can't stop that disco wanting you. 'Cause there's nothing like it, locking my eyes with you. I can't find it, splitting my mind in two. 'Cause I can't wait for you. 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 So, there you
Oh,
are.
I don't have to go on a bit, didn't they? Anyway.
Yeah, that's something. The Scream's 2.5-minute song, so there you are.
When will he shut up?
Yeah, really. Thanks for giving this a listen, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you caught like definitely the sound and the tones of the guitar. That bass work definitely reminded me of some early mid-'80s kind of, post-punk or new wave kind of stuff. So I'm glad you keyed in on that. Thought you'd be a fan. Glad you were. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought of Surf Curse and this song Disco. If it reminded you of anything else or any bands in particular, the tones of those guitars, what have you, please drop it down in the comments field below. Also, like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. It really helps us gin up the numbers here at the channel and bring new eyes and ears to the channel. So thank you so much for that. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will see all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.